Coming up in part 2, Winston and I head out on a 5-mile hike where I try to break through some frozen ice and we see a low-flying plane. I also test out my new internet booster and Winston hurts his leg. So we've just had breakfast and it's looking like it's going to be quite a nice day again. I think we'll get really lucky with the weather. It's cold, but it's still quite sunny. But yeah, we're nice and warm inside the pod. The walk that we're doing today isn't really planned. So I can see that there's loads of routes all up around near the hills, but I don't quite know which ones we're going to be doing. So we're just going to wander down them, or should I say up them, because when you look at the map you can obviously see the gradient of the land. So we're going to go up because obviously that's where you get the good views from going up, and we're going to see what we can see. We're going to try and do like a really big loop all the way around. I also checked out the pub and there's not much information on it. The website's down, there's no Facebook page, but from the Google reviews, one of the latest reviews says that it's just been refurbished and now it doesn't accept dogs. So that's us not going, because if I can't take my dog, I'm not going. So yeah, we're not going to the pub. But it would have been nice to actually end a long walk with a nice hot pub meal, especially on a cold winter's January day. But it's not meant to be. So I'm just going to finish my breakfast. Winston's finishing his snoozing, and I'm going to go to the bathroom, get ready, and then we're off. We love a waterfall, so let's go this way. And that's the waterfall. Not much water falling today. You can see it from up there coming down. Lovely and clear. Is that not cold, Winston? Yeah, change your mind. Come on. I don't know what Gwas is. Is it a place? Or is it a Welsh name for something? So I found my snood. It was in with my bedding, and I found my headphones. It was in with my food. I can understand how this could get tied up with my bedding. Don't understand why I put technology stuff with my food. But anyway, I'm happy I've found them. My neck is nice and warm, and I can listen to my podcasts while taking in the amazing scenery. Perfect. Hope you're not rolling in sheep poo. Is that what you're rolling in? It better not be. I've got to sleep with you in my bed. You got slather on your face. So this morning, whilst I was having my breakfast, I was looking in the Facebook group for the GoPod owners, and someone had shared a post to say that they were bringing back the 3.9 Calor gas bottles, the propane ones. Now, for those that don't know, my gas locker on my pod is that little front box, and it only fits the small Calor gas bottles. and they discontinued them recently, which meant that when this gas bottle ran out, I was going to have to change my gas over to something else. And my gas was running low. I noticed when I was cooking with it yesterday, it's pretty much almost empty. So I was making plans to have the gas changed over. But then I read this post saying that apparently they're bringing them back. So I was like, well, if I can hold on for a little bit longer, then it should be all right. But then I went to the bathroom and I noticed in the gas store of the campsite, they have the 3.9 Calor gas bottles. Well, I'm hoping that they're full ones and they're not empty ones. So when I get back, I'm going to give them a call. And if they're full ones, I'm going to buy one. And then if I buy one, that'll do me for another 6 to 8 months. By then, if Calor have brought them back, should be fine. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed because it will just save me a lot of faffing around. So it looks like someone's been having some fun. Looks like a little racetrack that someone's created. I used to date a guy once who was very much into bikes, and he taught me how to ride a little off-roading bike. I had to ride a kid's version because I couldn't hold a grown-up version up. Every time I tried to get on the grown-up version, I just fell over. So I learned on a little kid's Kawasaki dirt bike, and I was terrible at it because I didn't know what gear I was in. Because you change your gear with your foot, and I think you push up to go up a gear and down to go down a gear. And yeah, I never knew what gear I was in, so I was terrible at it. Had a lot of fun though in my misspent youth. So these here are called Blackrock pools. We're going up and then we're going round on the other side, and you just see glimpses of a view. So I'm hoping that when we're on the other side and walking along, I'm hoping we're going to get some amazing views. I'm hoping. Come on, Wins, let's go. Wins, get off. Wins, you stay back. You stay there. Oh. That is slippy. Oh, I'm really tempted to go skiing out in the middle, but I know it's a very bad idea, so I'm not going to do it. I would like to go home with both ankles intact. So I do sometimes question my life choices because I haven't done things kind of like the normal way. So never went to university, haven't got a proper job. I don't tend to stay in the same place for very long, so I do tend to wonder, have I made the right decisions about my life? But then I have days like today where I'm just wandering through Wales on a random Wednesday in this glorious weather, and I'm like, how many people get to do this? Most people right now are sat in an office, and I'm not retired. And I get to earn a full-time wage still while spending half of my day doing this with my dog. So I have probably made a lot of bad decisions in my life, haven't we all? But I think overall I'm quite grateful for this opportunity that I have at the moment. Now, after my little speech, I heard a rumbling in the sky, and I quickly managed to catch this plane on film. Now, I have no idea about planes, I don't know what it is or what its purpose is, but it was still a great view. For those that are interested, here is a close-up version of that footage. So look, you can see the river bending around. So up there, round. Now according to my map, that is the River Wye. I'm not quite sure how it's pronounced, but it's spelled W-Y-E. So I just said Y, but I'm guessing it's a Welsh name, which probably means that W-Y-E might be pronounced slightly different. But yeah. That would be a lovely photograph, Winston. So I have bought this internet booster. Now, it's not designed to create a signal out of thin air, but it is meant to boost the signal, hence the name. So I set this up at home, but this is my first opportunity to use it in the pod, so I thought we would test it out together. So we're going to run some speed tests. So everything's going to be hooked up to the laptop, and what we're going to test first is we're first going to test the campsite Wi-Fi, the upload speed, the download speed. Then I will connect the laptop to my phone, and we will check my phone upload speed and download speed, and then we will connect my laptop to the booster and we'll see what changes. So first up, let's test the Wi-Fi at Forest Fields campsite. I then switched the internet over to my phone's 4G and ran another internet speed test. I then set up the internet booster, so you plug it into your 12V socket and then just take it through the window and stick it outside. It does also come with a normal plug socket as well, but once done, I connected it to the Roz pod, which was the name I gave my internet connection, and ran another speed test. So I think we have a clear winner. Now I'm seriously impressed with that. I didn't think it would be that much difference. I was expecting an improvement, but not by that much, especially because this was probably one of the cheapest internet solutions I have managed to find. So again, that's why I wasn't expecting this much of a difference. But what I got is this. So it's a Falcon 4G combo. So it's £199. It's only £235 if you get the SIM card with it. But I opted to get my own SIM card. I got a contract for 12 months. The first 3 months is free, and then the rest of the contract is £17 per month, and that is for unlimited data. Now, it does say $199 for the price. However, if you are a member of the Camping and Caravanning Club, on their website there is a code that you can put in. I can't remember what the code is off the top of my head, but it brought the price down to $179, and that included delivery as well. If you want to know more about it, or if you want to know what the code is, please let me know in the comments and I'll try and fish it out. But yeah, seriously impressed with that. I didn't think it would make that much of a difference, but yeah, really happy with that. Okay, I'm going to crack on and get some work done now. Now of course it does have to run out through the window because this isn't a fixed solution, so it's not as though I've got somebody drilling it into the top of my pod. It is one that I can, obviously if I change my caravan I can take this with me, but I can still close my window. I don't have to force it. It just kind of sits in the cushioning around the window. I don't know what that stuff's called, but it kind of just sits in there, and like I said, I didn't have to force that closed. That just shuts on its own quite nicely, because in January It's -1 outside. I don't want to have my window open. But yeah, quite happy with that. So we got one, but I'll be honest, it's like looking at something that is extinct, but hopefully they're going to bring it back to life soon. So we're going to pop that in there. And we also got some Bara Brith, which I think is like a fruity, malty loaf. So I don't know, I'm going to give it a go. Hey, Winston. Now, after sorting the gas out, we headed out on our daily hike. Hey Winston, you alright? Want a biscuit? Want a treaty? Here you go. Come on then. So Winston has just ran up here and fell in this ditch and hurt his leg. You'll see which leg in a minute because it's very obvious. Now I've checked it, it doesn't seem to be broken or anything. It seems to be quite a bad like sprain or twist, but he doesn't walk on it too clever. So we're going to head home, let him rest that up. Literally just came out 2 minutes ago. Now the good thing here is because we had just came out, we weren't that far away. If he had done this the day before, where we could have been up to 3 miles away from the pod, that would have been a lot more difficult, because being a rescue dog, Winston does come with some baggage, and one of those things is that he hates to be manhandled, so he doesn't like to be picked up. Now, after watching him struggle for a while, I thought I would at least try to carry him, just to see what happens. Okay, so he did just let me carry him down this bit over here, which is a first. He doesn't like being carried, he usually just wants out, but he just sat really quietly and let me carry him. So just having a little break because 15 kilograms is a lot to carry, and I'm going to carry him down this bit. I think going down the hills are worse for him because it's putting weight into his front legs as he goes down. Once he gets down on the flat ground, I think he might be alright to get back to the pod. But yeah. Get my strength back and we'll go for round 2. Now the second carry didn't go quite to plan, and he just wriggled until he was put down, so I had to let him walk the rest of the way. Now the good news here is that he is putting some weight on it, so he's not completely lifted it in the air, and as I mentioned, I felt all his toes and all the way up his leg and into his shoulder, and I can't see any signs of anything being broken. There was no reaction whatsoever. So therefore the treatment for him is painkillers and anti-inflammatories, which I've got for him, and just strict rest, which is what we're going to go back to the pod and do. So we made it back, and Winston is now in bed. He's got his piggy and his toy, and I'm going to leave this in the bed position for him, so he's got all this space to relax in. and he is not leaving this bed other than to go to the toilet. He is on strict bed rest. It's a bit more of a pain for me because it's more difficult for me to work when it's in this position, but I'm sure I will manage because it's going to make him a lot more comfortable than if I put the table up. He's then going to be walking up and down the sofas and also turning around in a small space, and I don't want him turning around on his leg. He's even having water in bed. What has my life came to? So since I got back to the pod early, I decided to have a pre-lunch snack and try the Bara Brith. It's kind of like a cross between a ginger cake, a Christmas cake, and a fruit loaf. I don't know if that's the best way to describe it, but that's kind of the three vibes I'm getting from it when I taste it. Look at this absolute glorious day. Blue skies, winter frost. We're now stuck inside the pod for my little poorly boy. Hey, you're stuck inside now for the rest of the day. You could have picked a day with crap weather. So Winston is asleep, and I want to tell you guys about my New Year's resolution. So I tend to try to do one every year. This year, my New Year's resolution is to stop swearing. So when I am calm and in like a normal frame of mind, I don't really swear. But when I get stressed, that's a whole new ball game. Then when I'm stressed, it's like I've been raised in a back alley. I am terrible for swearing when I'm stressed. So what I've done is I've got a big whiteboard in my house, in the area that I work in. I usually use it for work stuff, but I've taken a corner of the whiteboard and I've written down a list of all the words that I no longer want to use, and then I've given each one a monetary value. So for example, the F word is £5. The poo word, so the S word, that's I think £3, and so on and so forth. And then each time I say one of those words, I have to tally on the whiteboard next to it. And then at the end of the month, so at the end of the January, I need to count up how much I owe. So for example, the F word is £5. So if I say the F word 4 times, that's 20 quid. And then whatever the amount is at the end of the month, I've then got to donate that amount to charity. Now it is quite expensive, and you can see how it wouldn't take that much effort to have a large sum of money at the end of the month that I would need to pay to a charity. But it had to be painful. I couldn't just stick a quid in a jar, for example. I want it to be so that every time I say a swear word, I'm like, that was painful. So yeah, that's where we're at. I'm hoping that as I go through the year, it will become less and less and less and less. So January is probably going to be my most expensive month, and then February, March, April, the amount that I owe to a charity each month would go down because I would be swearing less. So by the end of the year, I would have completely wiped those words from my vocabulary, or I'll be filing for bankruptcy. One or the other, not quite sure yet. But I think I'm about £180 down so far, and we're in the middle of January. But it all goes to a good cause anyway. It goes to a charity, so you know, we'll see. But yeah, I'll let you know how I get on throughout the rest of the year. Now I ended up doing no work at all that day. Instead, Winston and I just cuddled up and watched a movie. morning. Now, I've had a lot of dodgy nights throughout my life, but I would have to say that last night was probably one of the worst night's sleeps I've ever had. Bless Winston. So what he usually likes to do is he lays on top of the bed for a bit until he gets cold, then he goes under the duvet for a bit until he gets a little bit too warm, and then he comes back out and lays on top of the duvet again, and he does that throughout the night. But he can't, obviously with his leg, he can't move about as easily, so I was getting woke up every couple of hours as he was trying to manoeuvre and get comfy. And we ended up in some really weird positions because he was trying to kind of go into like his usual spot, but then kind of couldn't make it and just ended up flopping wherever he was and was just like, I'm sleeping here. So I was like, okay. I obviously didn't have the heart to move him, so I left him where he was, and then I kind of just had to fit around him while still trying to be on the duvet and still have some blanket. So it was an interesting night. Obviously he's still lame this morning. I didn't expect anything much different. It's going to be, I would say, at least 5 to 7 days before you start to see any improvement in him. He's just got to be on strict rest. So we literally went out this morning just to go to the toilet and to have his breakfast. He's now, I don't know if you can see him, back having his morning snoozes next to me. And we're going home today. What a way to end a trip. He's still enthusiastic. He leapt out this morning and was trying to run around, and I had to stop him and say, no, just take it steady, as he's trying to hobble around on 3 legs. But yeah, his tail is still wagging, so you know he's going to be okay. I've also done something really stupid as well. I left my milk, so I have some milk in the fridge, and then I usually leave some long life milk in the van, and obviously it's going down to -5 at night, so I went out to get my milk and it's obviously frozen, so I haven't been able to have my Weet-Bix this morning. So I'm actually having some of that Bara Brith bread. Yeah, it's kind of like a morning tea cake. I'm not quite sure if it's made for breakfast. I don't think it is, but it's enough to fuel me for today. Anyway, better crack on. We've got a busy day, got to pack everything away, and we've got to get home. Now, since Winston was out of action, I had to pack away on my own, and I left him in the pod on the bed until I was finished, and then once I'd hitched up, Winston just went straight from the pod into the van, and then it was time for us to head home. Now, as mentioned in part 1, I did struggle a bit on the way there due to the country roads. But on our way home, I managed to divert our route slightly to try to get more A-roads and a smoother ride, for a couple of reasons. 1, to keep it smoother for the caravan so that wasn't bouncing everywhere, and 2, to keep it smoother for Winston so that he wasn't being thrown around because of his poorly leg. Now, the good thing about going this way, although it did take us quite a bit longer, was that the views were just lovely. It was a lovely sunny day. We'd been stuck inside the caravan the previous day, so it was nice just to be able to see a little bit of Wales. But that view came at a cost, and that was when I got home. Both my van and my caravan were absolutely filthy. And that was the end of another podding adventure. So when we got back, Winston went into, I've got like this pop-up playpen for him. Now usually he has the run of the house so he can go wherever he wants, but because of his leg, I needed to stop him from following me around, stop him from going up and down the stairs, stop him from going on and off the sofa, on and off the beds, etc. So he had to stay in his playpen. And contrary to the name, he was not allowed to have any fun whatsoever. He literally stayed in the playpen and only came out to go to the toilet, and then it was back in the playpen. It was important that he rested. If he didn't rest, it would just prolong the recovery. Now, I had another adventure booked for us. So we came back from Wales on the Friday, and on the Thursday, we were meant to be going down to Devon for 6 nights. Now, I was on the fence a little bit about what to do, but in the end, I just cancelled. It's a long way for us to drive. It's about 4.5 hours from where I am, and he wasn't going to be 100%. He would probably be out walking, but he certainly wouldn't be able to go on any big hikes. So therefore, we'd just be spending most of the time in the pod, which then questions why bother going all that way. I did lose my deposit, but it was short notice, so it was only fair. And now Winston has got a little bit longer to recover, and I need him to be 100% for our next adventure, which is in the middle of February, where we're going away for 4 whole weeks, and we're going to be doing a tour of the Brecon Beacons in the south of Wales. So we've booked a couple of campsites, and we're literally just going to work our way. I think we're going from west to east along the Brecon Beacons, and obviously there's going to be some amazing walks there. I need my little buddy on top form. So I'd rather take a little bit longer to allow him to recover fully, to make sure that he is definitely 100% ready for those hikes. Now, the good news is that he is out of the playpen now, so he's able to roam around the house, and we're even going out on short lead walks, and he's walking pretty well. There's definitely an improvement on obviously what you saw in the last clip of after he fell down that ditch. He's walking much better now. Occasionally I see a little bit of a lame step and he's a little bit irregular, but overall he's pretty much almost there. Now, as mentioned, he is just on lead walks at the moment because I don't want him to run and stop suddenly, and I don't want him changing direction quickly. I also want to make sure that he's walking on flat ground, so I don't want his leg having to move or twist as he goes over uneven terrain, and I don't want him running up hills, running down hills, jumping off rocks, jumping over water, anything, etc. I just want to make sure that he's moving nice and flat, and there's no chance of anything happening that would put back his recovery and make his recovery last longer. I want to make sure that he is absolutely sound and 100% for all the fabulous hikes and walks that we're going to do in the Brecon Beacons. So thank you very much for watching this video, and we'll hopefully catch you guys on that adventure.